This was another problem that was commonly missed on the Chapter 2 stats test, so I wanted to take a look at it with you guys. The normal curve below describes the death rates per 100,000 people in developed countries in the 1990s, and then they give you a drawing of the normal curve. The common mistake here was, I think, assuming that each tick mark labeled on the axis at the bottom represented the actual standard deviation. And that's not always the case. Those can be specific measurements found. So you have to remember that a normal curve is symmetrical and that the mean is right in the center. So let's draw the mean first, or right the center point. So I'm going to blow this up a little bit more. And we're just going to try to find right in the middle of that curve and draw straight down. Okay, so that should represent close to what our mean is. After that, we're talking about some new lines, which would be like one standard deviation above or one standard deviation below. And the trick here is to try to remember kind of where those lie on a normal curve. So you're looking for what's called an inflection point, but it's basically where the curve starts to change direction a little bit. So they are around the middle here would be one, and then symmetrical, so it's going to look the same on the other side. So we're going to kind of grab the middle of that line and pull one down. And then right here we start to change again. So we're going to pull one down in the middle. We're going to pull one down in the middle. So that'll give you kind of a rough idea of where they should be. And remember, we're just doing an approximation, so it doesn't have to be perfect. The other thing that we're going to do here is talk about some process of elimination, since this is a multiple choice question. So right away, I know I can eliminate two answers here because the mean can't be 100. The 100 is way off to the left, so from the center of your curve. So I'm going to eliminate those right away and just not even look at the rest of that piece. That leaves us with three possibilities. So I can have a mean of 190 or a mean of 200. Now, 200 is not out of the question. Maybe I drew my line a little bit off center or something, but we're going to try to rule it out with some other things like the standard deviation that they gave us. So one way we can do that is to take the mean and add the standard deviation for each possible answer and see if it fits with the picture that we've got going on. So let's do one at a time. So the first one for C, it says the mean is 190 and my standard deviation is 65. So I'm going to take those and add them together and see if it looks close to where my one standard deviation away line would be. So 190 plus 65, and I'm going to get a 5, 5, 1, 255. So maybe let's look at the next one. So I'm going to take the 190 and I'm going to add 100 to it. So 190 plus my standard deviation of 100 is going to give me 290. And then my last option, the one that we were not sure about, takes 200 and adds 130 for the standard deviation. So that's going to give me 330. Okay, so right away I can get rid of this one, this last answer E, because there's just no way that it would be past that 300 mark based on the picture that we drew. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one as a possible answer, which is good because now we've narrowed it down to two options, and if you had to make a guess, at least you have a 50-50 shot here. But let's do a little more investigating and see which one of those numbers looks like it would be closer to this number right there. So I've got 190 is the mean. It's about halfway between the 200 and the 300. So I would say that the 255 is probably closer to that than the 290. So if I had to make an educated guess, I'm definitely going to go with C on this one. And in this case, the C is the correct answer, the mean of 190 and the standard deviation of 65. Hope that makes sense.